Welcome back, friends. It's Anders. Here in Chicago, it is rainy and cold today, so I thought it would be fun to have a little whiskey. So today, we are going to have a Remember the Maine. This is a classic cocktail. If you like a Manhattan, I recommend it. If you like a Sazerac, I recommend trying it. You'll probably like it. It's a great drink. It takes a little balancing, but I've already done that, and I'm going to show you the recipe that I love. So, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more sips, tips, and recipes, and let's go make Remember the Maine. The Remember the Maine? I guess let's go make the Remember the Maine cocktail to the bar. Today's video is sponsored by Chinola. Chinola is a passion fruit liqueur that is handcrafted in the Dominican Republic. It's shelf stable at 21% ABV, and it is made from 100% passion fruit juice. So there's no artificial flavors, ingredients. It tastes great. Honestly, the first time I tried it, I was really impressed. It's a little tart, a little sweet, and you can definitely use this in any cocktail that calls for passion fruit, such as the Porn Star Martini. In fact, because we are coming up on National Liqueur Day, which I've got to be honest, I didn't know was a thing until the fine folks at Chinola told me about it, we are going to be making the Chinola Porn Star Martini. So, in a shaking tin, start with 1 ounce, I need a jigger, whoop, there we are. Start with 1 ounce of Chinola, 1.5 ounces of vodka, 3/4 ounce of fresh lime juice, and 1/2 ounce of vanilla syrup. Add ice and shake, double strain into a chilled coupe. And for garnish, they recommend a dried passion fruit, but if you don't have one like I don't, then a lime wheel will do the trick. And you're to serve this with a side of bubbles. There we have the Chinola Porn Star Martini. Cheers. Very easy to drink, fun, juicy. The passion fruit with the vanilla is a nice combo, and the dried bubbles are a nice way to finish off the drink. That's not so bad, what do you think? You can grab your bottle by clicking on the link down below and using the code ANDERS10 for $10 off the Chinola online shop. So if you are looking for a new liqueur to try out, check out Chinola. Back to the film. All right, so the Remember the Maine. Where to begin? Let's start with who created it. We don't know. We don't have any idea who created this cocktail. However, the name that's associated with the drink is Charles H. Baker because in 1939, he printed the first known recipe to this cocktail in the Gentleman's Companion. In that book, he says that he discovered this drink in Havana, Cuba 6 years earlier during the Cuban Revolution of 1933. So in the book, he talks a little bit more about what was going on in Cuba at that time, but the drink has nothing to do with the Cuban Revolution of 1933. It's actually named after an event that happened 35 years earlier, or 35 years earlier actually. In 1898, February 15th, the U.S.S. Maine, which was an American naval ship that was stationed in Havana Harbor, sank. In the middle of the night, 3/4 of the crew died. Actually, I don't know if it was the middle of the night. In my head that was, because that's more dramatic. But anyway, this ship sank in the harbor and they decided to blame Spain, although they had no proof that the Spanish sank the U.S.S. Maine. But at that time, Spain controlled Cuba, and there was a lot of tension going on between the States and Spain. And so the American newspapers decided to blame Spain in print and made popular the phrase, "Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain." Now this whole debacle served as one of the catalysts that led to the Spanish-American War. And clearly the phrase was known by a lot of people. It was known by somebody who created this drink because it's called the Remember the Maine. So that's how we get the name. The cocktail itself, we don't know who came up with it, but we think it was invented in Cuba, even though it doesn't drink like your typical Cuban cocktails. So now the booze. For this cocktail, we are gonna need rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, cherry Heering, absinthe. Oh, and that's it. We're also gonna need a lemon because we're going to do a little lemon oil across the top, and we'll garnish it with a cherry because it's good that way. It's really good. So anyway, let's talk briefly about these. The base is gonna be rye. Rittenhouse, 100 proof rye is my go-to, but any rye is gonna do. Then we've got the sweet vermouth. I recommend getting the smaller bottle if you don't drink heavy amounts of sweet vermouth. It doesn't last forever. Store it in your fridge. The cherry Heering. Hear me out. So the recipe that we see in the Gentleman's Companion said cherry brandy, but it has become standard that cherry Heering is the cherry component in this cocktail. It's a Scandinavian cherry liqueur that has a richness. We want to be careful with it. I do find that if you put in too much of the cherry Heering, you get kind of a cough syrupy medicinal flavor that I'd rather not have, but a little bit of it adds a richness that's really good. The absinthe, this is going to be just a rinse in the glass. Absinthe can easily take over any drink. So I've put a little bit into a spritzer bottle so that we can spray evenly on the inside of the glass. If you want, you can do a little bit in the glass, swish it around, dump it out, but be sure to really dump it out. The other night I did that approach and I found that I had too much absinthe in my cocktail. I still drank it, it was good, but it was absinthe. Get your glassware chilled. I've got my glass in the freezer. We are going to stir this. Let's build. Let's start with the rye whiskey. I'm gonna do 1.5 ounces of rye. To that, 3/4 ounce of sweet vermouth, and just 1/4 ounce of the cherry Heering. Add ice and stir. I feel like it's been a while since we've stirred a cocktail on the channel, hasn't it? All those warm weather drinks. These are the fun ones. About 30 seconds or so, chill and dilute. If you've got a good story to tell that you can tell in 30 seconds, now's the time to tell it. I do have a tendency to stir over the 30-second mark, but that's because I'm gauging on how the ice is responding to the liquid. This also depends on the ice as well. Your ice might melt faster than my ice, or slower. You're looking to round off those edges. You want a nice chill on the mixing glass. You'll see the ice fall into the drink. These are all good signs that your drink is just about ready. Now rinse your chilled cocktail glass with the absinthe. Want a nice even coat and drop in a cherry. I've got my handy dandy chopsticks here. The chopsticks are great. I'm a huge fan of chopsticks. Now we can pour the cocktail right over the cherry in the glass. And I'm going to express some lemon oil across the top. Hit the sides. This goes really well with the absinthe, and discard the peel. There we have the Remember the Maine. Cheers. Here we go. Not even noon yet. A nice stiff one to start your day. Cheers. That's really nice, really lovely. The first time I had the Remember the Maine cocktail, I didn't like it. And that's because there was too much absinthe in the drink. There was too much cherry liqueur, and it didn't work for me. After working out a bunch of different ratios, this is the one that I find I like the most. I do like it with a little bit more rye whiskey too. If you're a big rye whiskey fan, do a full 2 ounces of rye. You're not gonna be mad about that. But these ratios are nice. It tastes like a Manhattan, but you get a touch of that cherry. You get the lemon on top, you get the absinthe on the sides, and all together that lifts up this otherwise rich cocktail. Well done, whoever came up with this 100-some years ago. Oz, would you like to try this?
Oh, sure. Oh, it smells good. I really like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And with that, now you've got a recipe. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Chinola, for sponsoring today's film. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter, grab your merch, grab some coffee. Links for all of this in the description down below. I will see you next time. I say, good day. Just gonna reset for next week's episode.